Welcome to the Chain Out podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Hey, howdy, and hello. Welcome to Chain Out Podcast, Season 2, Episode 81. I'm Jeremy. With me, as always, is...
Your favorite co-host, Daryl.
Woo! How's it going, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
And, you know, part of the reason I'm doing well is we talked about it last week, that we didn't see each other for an entire week.
Right?
That wasn't the case this week. I got to see you last night.
I know. I got a chance to get out to the roaming rec league. I don't normally get out it because it's normally a little bit further away from me in the city, but you're out at the Niskapasquak course, which we love because it's a great course.
Goose Meadows, if you are not brushed up on your languages.
Yeah.
So
it was a very good night for me.
Well, we'll get to that a little later.
Yeah.
But after we were done, the wonderful news that you might share with us.
Yeah.
We did something we haven't done in a long time.
We went live.
We went live.
Yeah, we did. We went live. It was your idea. I was not necessarily against it. I wasn't up for it. But we did go live, and we tried to do something that we did before, where we went live. We tried a ace run on hole 3. It's one of the shorter holes out at Goose Meadows at Niskapasquak. It went about as good as we expected it would go.
It went okay. So I looked it up, and it says on UDisc, but we know that UDisc at at Niskapasquak and the signs are notoriously...
There's 3 different numbers.
Yeah, there's the real number, there's the UDisc number, and there's the sign number. But it says it's 204 feet. And we were throwing some putters at it, so maybe it was. But, you know, I was going to ask the listeners do you have that person in your life that doesn't want to do something, but you know if you can just get them to do it, they're going to have a good time? Well, that's what happened last night. That's what I felt like, because I think once we got going, you were having fun.
I'm fine with Doc's money's on Sonia. Unfortunately, she wasn't there.
No.
I wasn't that I wasn't going to have fun doing the ace run. It
Right.
was the fact that it was the end of the round. I hadn't eaten supper, so I was hungry. It was getting late. The bugs were starting to come out for me.
Right.
And then you're like, let's go live and let's go ace run. And I'm like, well, we're not going to ace it. I don't mind doing it if we can spend an hour and throw a lot of disc and like really give it a run.
Right.
But
do
I
multiple tries.
Yeah. I grabbed 6 or 7 putter mid-ranges that I thought that it was going to be suitable for that hole. We tried and we failed.
Yeah, but we ended up having about 5 or 6 people join us live. We had some great interaction. We had some laughs. There was a couple times where you had to stop your throw and reset just because of the jokes that were coming through. So if you didn't check it out, it was live. It took a long time to get posted, but it is up there now. Do us a favor, take a look at it, make a comment. If you like it, put a like on there and let us know if it's still good, if there's no payoff in the fact that we didn't get an ace that time. Now, there were some close calls, or at least it looked like there were some close calls.
Yeah. Well, I would almost say the last throw.
That cold, or was that? Well,
Yep.
Well, we'll see. Oh, yes. Yeah. But yeah, check that out. That was a cool thing that we did last night. And we want to, as always, tell you about what's happening on around the world in disc golf, but it's got to be Canadian disc golf, or at least that's where we got to start.
Got to have a Canadian tie-in.
That's what we like. So why don't we start with last weekend's Northwest Championships that took place in Portland, Oregon?
Yeah. Well, we mentioned it last week. We had 4 Canadians down there. We had 2 MPOs and 2 FPOs. On the MPO side, we had the reigning Canadian Nationals champion, as well as 2025 Foxwood Open and Dieppe Open MPO winner. Thomas Gilbert was there, and also a new name to us, BC's Kieran Atkinson. He was there as well. Thomas finished in 60th place.
Right.
And Kieran finished in 65th.
Yeah, they ended up being fairly close together, I think.
Yeah. Which is surprising. I mean, that's 60 and 65 out of 102 people.
Okay, well, that's when you start looking at that number of players in the field.
Yeah.
With your Gannon Burrs and your Isaac Robinsons and everyone else there.
Yeah.
Well, and you look at it, how did they do? Did you get a chance to see?
Well, I watched round 1. I think it was on Jomez, I believe. It was on YouTube. But I was obviously watching PDJ live, watching Thomason, and watching the FPOs as well.
Right.
Now, we know Thomas has got a big arm.
He's got a huge arm.
We know that he can bomb a disc. But by his own admission, maybe his distance to control or his landing area is not always on point, and he tends to go out of bounds a little bit.
Yeah.
This Milo McIver course was so tight and so many rollers that people were throwing,
Okay.
and there was big trees in the fairways, and the gaps that he had to hit were so tight. I thought, well, the other course was
Glendevere. Yeah.
and I figured that's on a ball golf course.
That should be wide open.
That suits his game a bit more. He can launch those big hyzers. It happens to be that on round 1 and 2 at the tighter course, Thomas shoots a -3 and a -7.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was quite high up the leaderboard. I was watching. I think at one point he was like in the top 10 when I texted you. And
Yes,
Thomas is in the top 10. And both those rounds were 10-21 rated. Then we get into round 3 and he goes over to the wider big bomber. Maybe that's it. Maybe the fact that he has that big arm and he can throw it, there's more leeway for going out of bounds, because round 3 he finished with +5, and that dropped him 25 spots down to that 60th place and outside the
25 spots. So he was actually, like you said, he was up there pretty good up until that 3rd round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kieran shot above his rating over the weekend, which should have him happy, and it was a great performance as well.
Yeah, and it gave him going down there and representing Canada, gave us a chance to get to know who he was, and now that's a name we're watching out for.
Yeah.
So congrats, Kieran, on getting down there and competing with the DGPT pros.
Exactly.
Going one step above.
What about the FPOs? How did they do?
Well, on the FPO side, you wouldn't be surprised to know that Victoria BC's Sophia Donica was down there.
Right.
So she went down. That's, Portland to Victoria is probably 4 hours or something. But also we mentioned was that Westport, Ontario's own Rebecca Dawn made the trip across Canada.
Yeah.
And I think it was her first trip out west. I don't know if maybe she's done a Disneyland trip like all of us and stuff like that. But otherwise, it didn't feel like she'd been out to Vancouver or Portland and
not on the Pro Tour, but she's been out there for some, I think, junior
events, maybe?
From junior events she's been out there.
Yeah. So when they're both, and that was the other thing too, is as you're very proud of, Team Innova, you're honorary Team Innova, I think, at this point. When you choose to throw only Innova, you wear Innova jerseys, you've got Innova hats, I think you're honorary Team Innova. So both of them are on Team Innova as well. They both did very, very well. Rebecca shot above her rating all weekend and made it to that final 4th round, because there was an elimination after 3 rounds. And she ended up finishing 16th. And when I checked, it was a projected payout of about $690. Not bad for a 17-year-old for a weekend of disc golf, eh?
Exactly. Good.
Yeah. And then Sophia also shot above her rating and made it to the final round. She tied for 10th with Kat Murch, and just shy of $1,000 was going her way.
That's about 5,000 Canadian. I think.
I think it is when you really look at it.
Yeah.
Now, I did take a look moving forward on what's coming up on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and it's going back to Europe, because there's kind of a Europe and Canadian set of events or American set of events going on.
Yeah.
So they're going to be up in at the Ale Open in Knoll, Sweden, and that was the one that Max Rogitnik told us about. One of the best courses in the world. Right. So there's that one there.
I'm surprised that he's not going out for it.
Yeah. Well, I looked. There is not a single Canadian, not a one.
Wow.
So heading out there. But what about closer to home? Closer to home, the 19th Night Owl took place in Drayton Valley over the weekend, as well as the Big Bear Classic was happening last weekend too.
That's right. Yeah. 2 events in the same weekend.
Yeah, and that one's down in Canmore at the Nordic Center.
That's right.
So Drew Biette took down the MPO win by 1 stroke at the Night Owl. Have you heard of Drew before?
No.
Well, congratulations, Drew. Your first mention on the Chain Out podcast. And somebody who we have mentioned maybe once or thrice on the
somebody
podcast.
who's very well familiar with the podcast.
Yes. Ms. Terry Heiserbaum Hong was the FPO winners, and also a BR ambassador. The captain. Yes.
Captain BR, yeah.
So.
And then over at the Big Bear, Eric Weeb. We've seen that name mentioned a few times on Park Pro coverage. We've seen him around at a few events. He won by 1 stroke over Connell McLeod.
Gotcha.
Another name that was
we got to see him down at Spring Runoff.
At Spring Runoff, yeah. Yep. And Coda Postma, Spring Runoff winner. Yeah, 1 shot over him as well. Now, Joe Henderson. It seems like whenever we mention Joe Henderson, it's got to be followed with won the tournament. So far in 2025, 6 events, 6 wins. She took down
Flawless is all I gotta say.
Yeah, exactly. 14 stroke lead over second place.
14 strokes, Joe. Oh my gosh. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
So
What
if you're
amazing news.
wondering, has Joe recovered from the injury she was experiencing last
Exactly.
year? I'm going to say I think she has.
What a way to bounce back, hey? After like we said, we spoke to her a couple few weeks ago after
Yeah.
spring runoff. 2024 wasn't such a great year for her injury wise, various things. 2025 seems to be her year.
She's making up for it for
Yeah.
sure. But speaking of Joe Henderson and Coda Postma and Terry Hong,
Yeah,
they were all down at spring runoff.
they were.
They all signed our spring runoff disc that is around here somewhere. And we are giving it away. We had a contest going till May 30th. We wanted you to like our post on Instagram, tag an MPO and an FPO, preferably a Canadian one. Don't fall over.
Visions of Jordan Norway.
Yeah, so are you going for the big
So
trophy?
here we go.
Yeah, so it closed on May 30th, and it's now time to see who won. So, did you do a wheel of prizes?
I did do a wheel of prizes. Let's see who won, Jeremy.
Already?
There you go. Congratulations to Mason. Mason Howard. We know him.
Yes.
He's been on the podcast in our junior episode for Western Canada.
That's right.
He's going to get this disc. We're going to send it over to you, Mason.
And we know you're a big Discmania guy, kind of like Daryl is a big Innova guy. But I don't know if you'd ever want to throw this one anyways. It's a wall hanger for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, Max is, well, he's not Discmania either anymore, so I'll be quiet.
Right. But he was.
Yeah, there you go. He was, and it's on its way to you anyway. So
That's
you go.
it. And then next up, so that giveaway is done.
Yes.
And it just seems like we have to quickly start giving things away because the giveaways are stacking up.
We have so many things to give away. I mean, it's good, right?
It is. It's a great problem to have. And not even a problem, a great reward? What do you call that? I don't know. So next up is our Dieppe Open giveaway that Luc Richard and the Dieppe Open team were so kind to provide to us. So watch for the next post. We'll get working on that, right?
Now
when
that
I say we, Daryl will get working on that.
Now that one is done, and I mean, it closed last Friday, so that it has been closed for a while. But I feel like now it's closed. Now we've announced the winner.
We've shut it down.
It's shut down. Now we can move on to the next one.
And with the next one, what we'll do is we got a number of prizes from the Dieppe Open, and we really, really want to help get people to start following the Dieppe Open, get them working towards their bid for the 2027 Canadian Nationals that Luke told us all about. So we'll have a post where we want you to follow us always and share our posts and then follow them as well. And there's probably going to be a sharing aspect to it because we really want to get Dieppe Open's the name out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll start by giving away, we'll do 2 prizes with that giveaway. We'll do the replica buoy trophy, which if you didn't see them, when you see that picture, they're totally cool. One of the coolest trophies we've seen up in Canada here, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it goes really good with the paddle that was at spring runoff. It's kind of got a nautical theme.
Yeah.
And then we also have 2 thought space discs that we'll be giving away. So watch for that post. And then on the other side, Daryl, we have that Dieppe Open trucker hat.
Yeah.
And you had said that now that we have the chain out picks going on, we really want to reward people, don't we?
Over at chainoutpodcast.com.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. So for the chain out picks, we had it up as league style. We're gonna do a halfway point giveaway, and then we're gonna do a full end of season giveaway as well. And I think we decided that anybody who's submitted a team, who's done submitted picks for the events up until maybe the halfway point, we're gonna give away the Dieppe.
We'll do a draw that way.
The Dieppe Open trucker hat for that.
And what that kind of helps you out with is, let's say you're like, oh, we're already 3 A tiers in. I can't be part of the fantasy picks. Well, yes, you can. Come and join, check it out, and your name will get into the draw for that.
There you go.
So fantastic. Great time to mention our sponsors, I think. What
just before you jump into the sponsors, I just want to head over the chat.
Oh,
we've got a lot going on in the chat. I want to say hi to all the people here. So we've got Sonia, we've got Doc, Arlen's in the chat. We got Dina, who's listening. I believe she's out on her ladies' league night right now. So she's probably got one earbud in listening. Hi, Dina. And we also had a comment here from Carl, all the way from Barrie, Ontario.
Oh, wow.
And he says, greetings from Barrie. By the way, Sandy Hollow's top 10 holes are open and playable. So if you're listening and you wanted to know, now you know.
Yeah, perfect, Carl. We love dropping news about Canadian disc golf, and having more holes available in the country is always a good thing.
There you go.
Let's bang some chains in those baskets.
So you're going to say something else. Let's just get on to some sponsors.
All right. So Chain Out Podcast, proudly sponsored by BR Disc Golf and Cardinal Disc Golf. We have a code
Hey,
for you
Dylan.
there, Chain Out, and you can use that at checkout and get 10% off new discs from BR, bags. He's always got some things on sale. One of the things he's done most recently to make his website even more amazing is by giving you ability to say, hey, you know what? I really need a 7502 in my bag.
Right.
You can filter by a
That would be a T-Bird.
7502. T-Bird, or maybe even a Clash cookie. You could get one of those and put that in your bag. So that's something he's got going on. He put up a whole bunch of MVP and Axiom discs, and he's got some pre-orders going up as well, which includes the new Fission Trails.
That's a hot top. That's a hot disc.
Yeah. Well, last night we were out playing, and Devin was playing with us, and I had my Neutron Trails. And he's like, I can't throw that. It's a 10-speed. It's too big for my arm. I only throw 9s.
Yeah.
And he threw it pretty darn well.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't believe what it'll be when the Fissions come out, because they're a little bit, you can get lighter weights, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then on the Cardinal Disc Golf side, when you use Chain Out, you can get 10% off and get some cool threads like the jerseys we're wearing or the hat Daryl's got there. They've got a lot of cool things. They've got Gannon Burrs, one of the big names that's sponsored. He's got 2 jerseys. He's so lucky.
Well, he's got more than that.
Does he got 2 jerseys?
No, he's
More than
got
2?
4, I believe.
Holy
He's got
cow.
the Iceman. He's got the Kansas City jersey.
Yeah.
He's got the black and gold for winning.
Oh.
He's got, I believe he's got a 4th one as well.
So check that out. We have a Vanish disc to give away, and somebody used our code and will get it, but they haven't responded. So if you want to jump on and use that code before they get back to us and tell us you used the code, I think I'm going to give it to the next person who uses it.
That's on you. That's your part.
Yeah. So there we go. So
But don't forget, it's not only Gannon Burr who dresses as good as us.
No.
Gabby Lee,
Yes.
FPO Canadian FPO dresses like us.
One of
Miguel
my
Alvarado
Yeah.
dresses pretty sweet as well. I know you like his 2024 jersey. His 2025 jersey is just as nice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to support Canadian disc golfers, you can also jump over to cardinaldiscgolf.com and use Chain Out for 10% off.
That's right.
There you
And
go.
as we get to the end of our top of show, we want to tell you to stay tuned after Chain Out and go check out our Patreon episode and go to Patreon and join at any level and get the code to join us live. What are we going to talk about tonight, Daryl? I'm just thinking about it. We're going to talk about last week. What we did was we did a couple things. We talked about what makes a course great. What are some of the course amenities that we think would make a course even better than it could possibly be as just a straight up regular no tee pad type course.
Right.
The other thing we did is I threw a quiz or something at you, didn't I?
You threw a quiz at me. It was, I mean, it's up for debate. Go back and watch it and let me know whether you think it was a good quiz or it was a ridiculous quiz.
I think it was so easy. What I did was I took Innova discs, made riddle-like clues for Daryl that should have been a cakewalk, and he disagrees.
So I decided to flip the tables on you, and I've done a quiz for you this week.
Right.
Now, I put a question out on Instagram
Yes.
as a sample question to see if anybody was going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to quickly throw this up on the screen.
And one of the things we've been talking about this quiz, and as you put for the title there,
Yeah.
we're taking inspiration from Matt Lizak's team guest name on our fantasy picks.
Yeah.
Which was Who Dis?
New phone Who Dis?
Yes.
Or yeah.
And we've got new quiz.
Who disc? Yeah. So the question is, this disc can be sudden or gradual. It can be stratified or unstratified. It can be related to data or pesticide, but nothing like a good old-fashioned Tokyo. Now, if you can guess what that disc is, I will give you a clue because you told me last week that you just did it Innova disc.
Yes.
So I will tell you that this disc is either an MVP, Axiom, Streamline, or TSA disc.
Yes, and those would be all the discs I know the best.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's the group that I'm coming for from you.
And 4-win sounds like they got it right. They said it was a drift, and that was the answer I went with as well. So if you want to compete with these questions, join us and let's see how Daryl does compared to mine.
It was a drift.
Yeah.
Tokyo drift.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, you got it.
Now the other thing, show them what we got for this one. Just because last week's one, Daryl does not like to not give an answer. He wants to pensively think about it as long as he possibly can. But we're going to make it a little quicker on the Patreon show. So what do we got?
We got this.
Yeah, we do. We got a timer, 1 minute to win it per question.
1 minute to win it.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
So stick around, check that out, and thanks for hanging around for the top of the show. Let's get to the guest.
Oh, we should get to it. The person's been waiting patiently.
Our next guest started disc golfing back in 2019. She and her partner Arlen took on the challenge of playing every disc golf course in Saskatchewan. She's been the Saskatchewan Provincial Disc Golf Coordinator and is currently Disc Golf Saskatchewan's Community Outreach member. She champions women's disc golf and, oh yeah, Daryl, she also plays and competes at the pro level in her spare time.
Wow.
Yeah, what spare
Yeah,
time? I don't know what it is.
exactly.
Yeah. From Regina, Saskatchewan, join us in welcoming, fire up that chat, Jeri-Ann Brownbridge to the podcast.
Hello.
Hey, Jeri-Ann, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Glad that we finally got around to speaking to you. Sorry it took you so long.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was lovely watching the show behind the scenes.
There you go.
Yeah, you get to see how it all happens, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And from the green room, and we always talk about, we hope we set it up okay. You had your favorite treats and candies and everything in there, in that green room that you were
Yeah, I've
waiting
been
in.
preparing.
Yeah. Well, let's start. I'm just going to say, looking behind you in the background there, we were talking that you also find a way to play pro disc golf. Is that a disc golf trophy behind you, or what's going on there?
That's not my trophy.
Oh.
But I did kind of place it there with purpose.
Okay.
This year will be the 20th annual Sask Open Provincial Championships. And we have been working diligently to improve some of the events that we have held. This will be the second time me and Arlen have ran it, but this will be, I think, the fourth or fifth year that I've been on the committee for it. And so this that you see behind me
You've been
is the
practicing.
new FPO trophy.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, we were just
Yes.
talking
So
about great trophies, and look at that.
Yes, so it has all the FPO winners of the past, which I think started in 2019 was the first FPO division. And so we have all their names and we can't wait to have the 2025 winner.
That is fantastic.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And it's a gorgeous looking trophy as well.
mm-hmm.
We tried to make it a little feminine and kind of work with the FPO trophy that we've had. So yeah, the girls definitely deserve it, and I'm sure they're really excited to fight for it this year.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
it does look like a cup style. Does it actually operate as a cup in case someone wanted to celebrate with a beverage of any sorts, or?
I mean, maybe that's an idea. Don't want
Could
to,
be water. It could be
say
anything.
too
Could
much.
be Gatorade, whichever.
It could be sparkling.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's so great to see you, because I think Daryl and I were trying to think about the last time we got to see you in Arlen, and we're guessing it was probably, well, I said it was probably last year at River City Cup, and Daryl, you said it was definitely.
Yeah, I definitely remember the last time I seen you. It was a drive-by, but the reason why I remember it is because it stuck out in my mind, because I remember seeing you at hole 10 at Rundle Park, which, for those who don't know, it's kind of a shorter hole. It's on a slanted hill, but there's a tree right off the tee. And the reason why I remember it is because you were doing a kneeling drive off the tee pad.
I'd still do it again if I had to.
There you go. I mean, you threw the drive out there, so obviously it worked. It was a great drive to get you underneath that tree branch. So whatever works.
If I could just make the putt, like I've hit chains on it both times, both rounds that I did that, it was perfect. I just, when you're putting upwards, you can have a little error and you just hit chains and don't get in. So, but I would do it again every time, unless that tree gets taller. I'm doing it again.
Well, don't worry. Me and Jeremy have been trying our hardest to try and chop it down with you.
Yeah, we've been hitting a lot of that tree and trying to help you out.
Yeah.
Well, how are things going out in Regina? Is it getting to summer yet, or how's the weather out there?
Oh, it's summer already. Lots and lots of mosquitoes. Ticks are out now. It's just, it's full blown summer. Yeah, it's lovely. We just started our virtual league this week, and our first night of ladies' night is tonight, so I'm missing it, but it's fine. It's worth it. And yeah, we're kicking it off in Moose Jaw, which is just like 40 minutes from here, for the Canadian women's event this weekend. So really excited for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, looking from my notes and when we were checking out, is that event called the Deja Vu Classic, I believe, or was that what it is?
Deja Vu Divas,
There we go.
and
What it is.
so it's named after the course, but also it happens to be one of our platinum sponsors, so it kind of works out as well. It's a new course that was installed last year, and it's a fun course, and I think all the ladies will really enjoy it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a great event for sure.
Mhm.
Well, Jeri-Ann,
If
at
I can
this.
just add
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just because we mentioned Moose Jaw, and earlier in the episode, you mentioned Drew Biet. And I just think there's an important information that needs to be added to that is that Drew Biet's from Moose Jaw, and he is a junior.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
that's great news to know.
Yeah.
Well, what have we been just talking about off camera there, Daryl?
Exactly. We've been thinking about getting our guests lined up for another junior episode that we're going to line up, and we're going to do another East-West, episode again. So Moose Jaw.
And Drew is just lovely.
Yes. Okay. There we
Perfect.
go. Drew, you're getting lots of love on the podcast tonight. You might be getting a call from us sooner than later.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to you, Jeri-Ann. And at the start of our interviews, we like to find out how our guests got into disc golf. On the Chain Out podcast, we don't just say, how'd you get into disc golf? We've got a really weird creative way where we come up with an origin story for you based on a movie that's probably nothing like how you got into disc golf. You and the listeners can sit back and listen and try and guess the movie. And after that, we'll find out how it really happened. So here we go. Maybe when you were in high school, you always felt like you were a little different. You could sense and feel things that others couldn't. Not only that, you had expert reflexes and could throw any item with deadly accuracy. In gym class, you threw javelins, shot puts, and discs. An old man saw you throwing and approached you after school saying that you were the disc slayer, and it was your calling to defend the world from evil with your disc throwing abilities. You shrugged that off pretty quick, but the next day you ran into an evil wraith and a gorgon. Thinking of what the old man said, you flung your trusty scepter disc at them and slayed them both. And after buffing and shining your disc, you were ready to save the world. You took out creature after creature until they were all gone. And to this day, you slay chains at disc golf courses regularly, keeping your skills sharp in case the day comes when Jeri-Ann, the disc slayer, is needed again. Now, maybe that isn't quite how you got into disc golf. So why don't you tell us how it really happened?
Oh, that was great. I guessed it right off the bat. So yeah, that's my favorite. So mine started in July 4th, 2019, as it was one of my best friend's birthday. And we wanted to do something really special for him, Blair Taylor. And so we asked him to me and Arlen, take us out for our first round of disc golf. And I don't know why I was hooked immediately because I look back on my scores and I did terribly, but I loved it. It was so much fun and I was hooked immediately. I think I went out the next day and got myself a starter disc or starter pack. And then about a week later, I thought, a 13 speed driver would be smart. So let's get one of those in the bag. And yeah, I was hooked immediately. And then I think I didn't know how to throw. I probably didn't learn how to throw until probably 2021. So I was enjoying all my double bogeys and triple bogeys for a solid 2 years.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when you're talking there about getting that first starter set, do you remember what you started out with and what those discs were you were throwing?
I know it was a Saint, a Fuse, and I don't remember the third.
Probably
I'm not going to lie.
Probably a
But
pure.
I know it was probably, but
Yeah.
yeah, I still have them. I will keep them forever because they're part of my memory keepsakes. So yeah,
So not
and
only will
then
you.
the trespass.
Oh, yes. So not only will you keep them forever, do they still get thrown or are they now keepsakes only?
I think last year me and Arlen took our starter pack discs and went out for a round to see how much better we can throw with them. And yeah, we did way better.
Well, there you go.
Do any of them? I always love it when people say they keep those discs that they started with. Sometimes we speak to people and they say, no, it's in a lake somewhere. You know, that one got lost early on in the career. So I'm glad that you still have them. Do any of them have any signatures, any aces on them?
Oh, no, 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 no. None of them have aces on them. But I did lose my driver on my third round, and we went back probably 2 days later and found it in a bush. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be with me, but I somehow found it.
Well, that's good.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, when we're looking here, Jeri-Ann, you didn't take long, like you said, as you got to 2021, where you said you started to learn how to throw, and then all of a sudden you decided to jump out on the road. Is that kind of when things happened? We were seeing that maybe you did a bit of a disc golf tour.
Yeah, no, that was in 2020. So like
Okay.
COVID hit and everyone's canceling their plans, and I'm a big camper. So I love going camping and I love the outdoors, and I was we I was looking at my weekends, and nobody was getting denied time off on at work because, well, COVID. And so utilized all the weekends and booked them all off, and we went out, and I had mapped out various, trips and to collectively get the most courses possible. And it wasn't on the list to get them all. It just kind of started working out that way because we didn't know how long it took to play some of these courses. We're just guessing, and we were crushing them out. And there's nothing to do. You can't go to restaurants, so you're going back to the
Mhm.
campsite to cook. And yeah, we ended up getting them all and getting 65 that year. So
65.
65 in one
yeah,
year.
Yeah. So
yeah.
like Ash from Pokemon would probably have been really proud because you caught them all essentially is what you did in Saskatchewan, eh?
That year we got them all, and it's really hard now to keep up with it. I mean, we we enjoy traveling, we enjoy hitting as many courses as we can, but we also enjoy, playing in tournament aspects, but we also enjoy playing or participating in creating tournaments. And so volunteering has become our priority this year versus playing in tournaments. So,
Right.
and we want to get back to touring. So we have a couple tours planned this year specifically to, make us happy and just hit that special part that just eases us and takes away all the stress of a tournament play. So,
Right.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. I mean, that's probably a good problem to have, is that you can't keep up with them all because there's so many now. And I think when we looked on UDisc, we see that there's now 105 courses in Saskatchewan. So out of those 105, how many do you think you've had a chance to play?
I'm gonna I'm gonna guess 101.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a bad number to be at. You've
Right.
got 4 left to play.
Yeah, we know which ones they are. There's one we'll never hit. It's so far up north and you need a boat or a plane to get there. So
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh, whoever put that course out there hates me."
It's gonna be that that one lone dot on your map
Yeah.
that you just don't have, but
Mhm.
maybe one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe what
I
you
I can win the lottery once.
There you go.
let's say
You can win it after me.
would it count, Daryl? Do you think if you went to UDisc and you looked at the smart layout for that, and then you set up a course at the same distances, like you played a virtual? Could you? Nah, maybe not. I
No,
think I'm stretching.
maybe
You gotta
a
win the
little, but
lottery.
no.
You got to get up there.
Mhm.
And
Someone fund my trip. No.
there you go. Well, one of the things too, Jerry, and where we really want to focus a lot on Saskatchewan is because we do try to cover Canada and Canadian disc golf from coast to coast and from north up to Whitehorse and everything else. So we really want to key in on Saskatchewan a bit. And when we looked, according to UDisc, Jackfish Lake was the #1 rated course for UDisc in 2024. And it's home of the Canadian A tier, the Gold Eagle Open. Now, from you playing 101 of 105 courses, do you agree with that, or would you have another course you might put up at the top or an honorable mention course?
Well, I can understand why that course became the number one. It's first off, the A tier says it all. That draws people in to go play their rounds. It is beautiful, and it's got a mix of, bomb shots and technical shots as well as elevation. So there's a variety, so it can really attract the experienced players. And then you have the red tees that are really more beginner friendly. And when you're a beginner, you don't think that, but when you get to experience levels, you'll see that the red is definitely, you know, parable and birdieable. But they also have two courses that are right within each other. So if you get through 9 holes at Jackfish, there is the Bluebird course just sitting off to your left, and you can play another 18 holes, which is all ace runs. So when you're getting two courses within one, it sets the tone that's better than anything else in Saskatchewan. I do, however, think that there is a new course that's just popped up with a full 18 baskets. It had 9 baskets last year, and I think it is the best course in the South. And so we're calling it like the Jackfish of the South, and it is Oxbow's course, and
Okay.
it's on a hillside in a valley, like looking down at the valley, and it's really well done. We had stopped there last year to play 9, thinking it's just going to be around a campsite, and the whole time we're just like, wow, like I can't believe this is just down here, and it's just people need to know it exists. And that now they put another 9 baskets in. I am super excited to go and play the full 18. So
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to have a great course like
I
that
got
just
it.
pop up.
I got to give an honorable mention to Papikas's though, because man, that course, it beats me up. It chews me up, spits me out. And yet I keep coming back because I want to beat that course. And it's not so much with elevation. So that's where it falls short to Jackfish. But it's got the same technical shots and bomb shots as well as water lines. So I think Papikas's falls like solid second to me. So
Okay.
There you go. Two honorable mentions, 3 great courses that
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have to go on our list at some point, Jeremy.
Yeah, I heard you chuckling a little bit there when it was a course that beat you up and you just keep going back. Did it give any in your mind or someone? Is there a course like that for you? Not meaning to put you on the spot, but
No,
you thought it was
no, I've been reading the chat and things like that as well. So.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Are you trying to lead the witness here? Is there something you
Yeah,
wanted me to say?
no, there you go.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe Aspen Meadows East. I don't know.
Oh, okay. We don't talk about Aspen Meadows East.
Yeah, I bring it up as often as I can on the podcast, Jeri-Ann, but he tries to avoid it as often as possible on the podcast.
Getting back to your disc golf travels, what would you, when you were visiting all those courses, what would you say your most favorite part about those traveling, about your traveling was?
um oh all the memories, like if someone were to send a photo to me, I can almost pinpoint the exact course that is. So like
Right.
Oh,
every course we played, we took on a memory that we really hold and can recall things that happened to it. I mean, we walked into a bear's den at one point. Like you kind of
Wow.
don't forget those kind of moments. Like
Okay,
there's a bear's den, and there's
I think
there's
we need
a
to
lot
hear.
of stories.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think we need to hear a bit more about the bear's den. Like, how did that come about? How did that happen?
Oh, Arlen. I'll blame Arlen. We both threw a disc. It was Echo Bay. I want to say it was hole 10. That's where I recall it in my mind. And I threw a shot, and he tried to really crush it, and it had a hard hook, and it went into the bush. And so we both took different paths into the bush, and I'm searching for his disc because no disc left behind. It's just part of us. We find the discs, and so we're searching and searching and searching, and then all of a sudden, Arlen's yelling at me to get out as quickly as possible, and I'm stubborn, so I'm like, I'm leaving. As I keep looking, as I'm slowly making my way out, he's like, Jeri-Ann, get out now. I'm like, why? He's like, we're in a bear's den. And I I just didn't think and look. I just went out at that point, and as we got out, he had found his disc, and I didn't look. I was scared at that moment. You tell me bear's den, and my heart just goes da 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 da.
Yeah,
And yeah, I was out.
that's insane. That's got to be one of the old-time
Stories we've got.
disc
Yeah.
golf stories that we've ever had on the podcast. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we found the disc, so it was a win-win.
no disc left behind.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's
the
the moral of the
punchline to
story?
the story. Well, we found the disc.
We barely found the disc.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
No,
So
no, I think we have memories from all over. I mean, I got some bad stories too, and I don't think I should tell here, but yeah, like La Ronge is probably not the best course to travel up to. We got it off, but it's not a great park. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh.
The people in the park are a little on the scary side, but we survived and we got out of there, and yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Oops.
There you go. Well, one of the things what I was thinking about, because there's a lot of things that Alberta and Saskatchewan share in common, and one of those is that, and maybe it's all provinces and states out there, but they all claim, a lot of small towns claim to have the biggest something. So if I drive by like a large tourist attraction, I almost always have to stop and see. So my question was, and it's a kind of a corny one, but when you were traveling around, did you do the biggest things as well? Like maybe the largest loonie in Churchbridge or the largest coffee pot in Davidson?
We did do all that. I mean, we did. I think there was a porcupine out near Kelvington. Now it's not in Kelvington. It was on that travel from Kelvington to Nipawin. So we
Okay.
did do that. And when we went to Cypress Hills, we stopped and hit. There's Highway 13, which is the ghost towns. So
Okay.
there's like the biggest strip of ghost towns on Highway 13. So we went and stopped at like a bunch of those ghost towns and took pictures of the old buildings. And yeah, we did do all that kind of
There you
stuff.
go.
See,
Well,
Daryl said to me, he looked at my outline. He says, Jeremy, you're going to ask that? And I said, yeah, this is a thing I'm interested in. I want to know about it.
Jeremy writes the outline. He's very famous for being in depth, and he'll go places where I don't expect him to go to get details and facts about things. And when I read this question, I thought you were up late writing this, weren't you, Jeremy? Because that seems like a 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning question. But I'll give you props. It wasn't that bad of a question.
There we go. Yeah. So I think when you come out next time, if we're both traveling in the same direction, I'll meet you at one of the Alberta stops and we can take our picture there or something.
Yes, let's do it.
There you go. Well,
It'll be my
if we want
selfie for a month.
yeah, there you go.
My profile photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jeri-Ann, if we get into the Saskatchewan disc golf side, like with kind of what's going on out there, like when you found disc golf, not only did you become an enthusiastic player, you did what we find many of our guests do and dove like head first into the community. So can you tell us a little bit about the roles that you've held and the things that you've done in Saskatchewan since you've started?
Oof. I don't know. That's a loaded question. Um, so I didn't really know that what we were doing in 2020 was being noticed by anyone. We didn't do it for anyone else but ourselves. And I just remember going to the 2020 Sask Open at Murray's disc golf course, and people were crossing paths with us asking us if we were the couple hitting all the courses. And I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, if people liked us or people, hated us. But that was my first tournament, and it was only our first tournament because we wanted to knock that course off our list. And there was the only way we could hit that course is participating in the tournament. And
Right.
this is going to be a little plug for Terry Hong, but she was out there putting and I was so alone, and Arlen's playing his round and I
Right.
didn't know anyone. And Terry was the nicest person I had ever met. And I felt really privileged that she stopped to talk to me, and she was, the FPO. And so it was it was a very special moment that I had. And then as the tournament went on, we realized that people were just interested in our tours, and they were really nice and very friendly. And I'm a major introvert. So like it's really hard to get me to talk, but it's really easy for me to listen. So it was, Arlen's the talker. So I took his side and let him do all the talking. And yeah, we made some great connections. And then that following year, I got onto the Regina Disc Golf Association as well as the Saskatchewan Disc Golf Board, and just took on some roles to figure out some of the stuff in the community and how to grow the sport. And there's so much experience out there, and I just soak it all up, and then I look for new ways to take what they already have and put some added spice to it so that we can draw new people in, maybe make it a little, you know, edgier versus, traditional. And yeah, just the connections I meet from make from people coast to coast in Canada, as well as a little bit in the United States. There's some great ideas out there, and you can really use them as inspiration to create a whole new event, or add flair to an already existing event. And so we were on committees for Sask Open, and then we held our first tournament in 2021, which we had so much stress because we don't know what we're doing and we're trying to figure it out. But the feedback we got was that we did really good and that we should continue on with that. And so that's why every year we try to hold at least 1 or 2 tournaments. But last year we signed up and did volunteer spots at tournaments that we knew we couldn't play the whole thing. And like I'll tell you, everybody should volunteer for 1 tournament a year. Giving back is just so unbelievably rewarding. When you're flagging a hole, you're meeting every single person playing in that tournament, which is not something you can ever say when you're playing in a tournament. So I recommend everyone volunteering for 1 tournament. Go flag or go set up the course or whatever. Just I promise you that you're going to feel really good about yourself, and you're going to enjoy the events so much. But yeah, definitely play in the tournaments. Just donate one weekend of your time, and it'll be rewarding and you'll love it. So there's that aspect, but the community aspect, like what can we do to grow the sport? I think we're seeing a lull, and it's not necessarily people playing, it's a lull in people playing in tournaments. So this year I feel like it's very important to get out to those communities and put some clinics on and show people their potential, and then maybe they'll put on a casual event, maybe a trilogy, maybe it's a Discape or something that they could see that tournament aspect without the pressure and the stress, and realize, oh, that wasn't so bad, that was actually a lot of fun and I did really good. And maybe then they'll transition into the tournament scene. So that's my goal as the community outreach this year, is to get out to more of the smaller communities and show them what's out there in the sport, and not just throwing a disc in a basket, but meeting other people and improving your game because of that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all amazing. Yeah, I mean, it was Craig Sheether, right? Who, when he
Nationals.
accepted the volunteer award, he said, "Play 5, volunteer at 1." And I think that's that's a great ratio, and it's something that we've taken into our hearts as well. We always volunteer for She's Up First, or for any events that we can. Excuse me.
And with that too, is like exactly as you're saying, we've experienced as well. And we had the fortunateness of talking to Carrie Neal, and every time she gets all welled up when we talk about it, but she really did inspire us and got us out to She's Up First, helping with Kristen's event. And I have probably more fun at that event than I do when I play a tournament, just because of what you said. Now, maybe I'm on the opposite side. I'm a bit more of an extrovert. So me getting a chance to meet everybody on the whole course, I just look forward to it every year.
And it's quite rewarding. Like if you're flagging a hole that's really, got a lot of bush and a lot of trees, and nobody loses a disc on your hole, you're like, yeah, I helped with everyone. Like no one lost a disc on my hole, and you have like a badge of, pride, and you wear that.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I fully believe on the, take 5, give 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, Jeri-Ann, is that Daryl and I are always keeping an eye on the chat, and when somebody's got something nice to say, we want to make sure it gets up there. So
we got a lot of great things, but go back up to the first one that came in was from Kevin King. Nothing but love for Jeri-Ann. Being provincial coordinator is a big task, and she did it during a big time of growth in Saskatchewan. So
yeah,
that's a great comment from Kevin, who always is quick to shout out anybody who needs that praise.
yeah. Well, not who's doing it, doing those good things,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
no,
exactly
exactly.
what you're saying. Yeah. And then what I would say is, so you didn't even mention that part about it, is that you took on the role as the Saskatchewan provincial coordinator. So was that still when you were early on and just said, "Yeah, sure. What's the biggest thing I could do in the sport? Let me try that."
Well, so when I first got onto the Saskatchewan Disc Golf Board, I was brought on for their social media coordinator. And I think it's because I had all the photos and I was doing a lot of, posts, and they really wanted to get a presence online. So I took that on, and then it was the same year that the provincial coordinator was due, and I don't know who nominated me. No one asked me. I got nominated, and then I got an email, and I'm like, well, I feel like I should probably say yes. So it's a great honor. And so I said yes, and I took it super seriously. But it wasn't as much stress as I thought. And it's probably because I am a person who, as you can see behind me here, sorry, right here,
Yeah.
I'm old school and I still have calendars. So I kept track of everybody's, tournaments and the dates, and, and approving them and all that. And yeah, I think I was just really well organized. So I was
Well,
happy
that's
to do it, but I think it's Evan Zimmer now,
Yes.
and I think he will be up for nominations again this year. So
Okay. Yeah. No, and that's fantastic that you did that and so early on, but in your start with disc golf for sure. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you with that too is like, not only are you making the provincial disc golf area, but you do have kind of near and dear to your heart, and we've tried to focus as much as we can, is not only growing the sport, but growing the women's side of the sport. So how do you think things have been going on that in Saskatchewan, and how are you feeling just about it generally in Canada of how women's disc golf has grown?
well, I guess I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like there's cycles with the female division in Saskatchewan. And so there'll be like a cycle where like 10 women are signing up and they're playing a tournament. And then the following year, it's a different 10. So it's like, I want to see where we're having the same people coming back. And I don't know if it's, family life that's, taking a pause from the sport, or, if it's work life. I don't know. Maybe it's disinterest. I don't know. But I mean, I love seeing new faces and new female faces, just like they make my heart sing. And so this year we're putting on more ladies clinics, and I think that's super important. Having a ladies night is very much needed in all communities that are trying to grow a sport. So
Mhm.
if you're a community that doesn't have a ladies night, you need to start getting one if you want to grow that aspect of the sport. And more women playing means that more children will be playing, so they work
Mhm.
really well together. As for clinics, we need to get more clinics out there, because I think that's the pause that women take from jumping into the tournament is, a, they don't see themselves as good because their partners have a different arm. It's a different golf.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Men play a different golf than we do. And so when you get out to the ladies' night and see that you are playing very similar, you get more confidence.
Right.
But there's also that aspect of, we can't take advice from our men. It's just not going to happen. We don't learn the same as men. Men learn differently and teach differently. And
Mhm.
so I think when you have a woman teaching a woman, it's going to be received, but it's also going to be taught differently. And so it can be received better. And it is super important that we get out and do more clinics. And so last year I did one. I was a little overwhelmed because I was solo. So I think I did really good with all the women I had, and I had great feedback from them. to the point where I'm seeing those women playing in tournaments where they weren't playing before. And so I love seeing that. And I really want to do more of that this year. So this year, I think we have 2, possibly 3 lined up.
Okay.
And I'm also got a clinic in the works right now for a new community, so I won't say it. Their course is not fully set yet, so I can't say their name, but
Okay.
we're going to do a school clinic with the juniors there too. Like, they're both very important, and I can't say that women or youth are more important. They're equally important, and they work together to grow our sport. So
Yeah, that's amazing. And kind of on the same things you were saying there about you like to meet new people and you want to get new faces in the sport. Somebody in the chat here, Tanis Jones, says she looks
yeah,
forward
I
to
just read
meeting
that.
you. There you go.
Yeah.
So she can't wait to meet you next weekend as well. And then we
Well,
did
so
have another
I
question.
haven't met her yet, and she's new to the sport, but she's playing with all guys. So I'm like, you know, come play with me. I'll come down to Arcola and we'll play together. And she's like, can we be on the same car? I'm like, sure, we can work that out. And so, yeah, she signed up for her first tournament, and we're gonna have so much fun. I'm so
Yeah.
looking forward to meeting her. So,
Yeah.
Jeri-Ann is the reason I am playing in my first tournament next weekend. Nervous but happy.
yeah,
I took the jump to play and have her for help, so it's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah.
you know what, Jeri-Ann, with what you're doing, and one of another big supporter of our podcast is Andrea Michaud, and part of the CWE and the Canadian Women's events, and I think that too has been such a great addition to, as opposed to just the World Global event every 2 years, to have the CWE and have it be able to take place over a number of weeks, so that people can play a number of events rather than just be stuck playing one on one weekend, right? So.
Yes, I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And you had mentioned provincials before, and one of the things that I kind of wanted to touch on about Saskatchewan provincials is, since Daryl and I started, we've only been in disc golf 2-3 years now at this point, and Alberta provincials was something before we started, but it's all but disappeared at this point. Is there anything from your experience with Saskatchewan provincials that you could help encourage us or anyone listening in Alberta of why it's important, or how to make it successful, or what it takes to have an event like that happen every year?
Yeah, so I only learned that there was an Alberta Open by mistake because I had a disc in my collection that had the Alberta Open on it, and I didn't even notice until we moved and we were unpacking all the discs. And I'm like, wow, how come we've never been to an Alberta Open? And then
Right.
we had to do some digging, and it's just kind of fallen to a wayside, and it should.
Mm.
I hope to see it come back because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's super important for our sport to each have a provincial and territorial championship
Mm-hmm.
that kind of boosts our, Canadian nationals event. And it would be nice if we had it across the board, and maybe we worked with the Canadian nationals to secure spots for our, top winners to move into Canadian nationals. And that would be my my long-term goal for Canada, not me solo. Can't do it all alone. But I mean, I think Alberta could definitely get a committee together just for Alberta as a governing party to create a Alberta Open, and it can change locations every year,
Yeah.
working in favor to the different clubs in the area. And Alberta has some of the best community first off, but some of the best tournaments and courses around. So it would be awesome to see, Alberta Open at Canmore, as well
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
Big Bear Classic, right? It'd be really nice to see that, or Aspen Meadows, or,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
so
This is
much
hopefully.
potential.
this is all music to your ears, isn't it, Jerry?
Yeah,
Because this
Jerry.
is something that you've been trying to champion for a while.
Yeah, you're singing to the choir, especially when you said about having a champion from, or a set of champions from each province and territory. Because I even took it one step further when I was talking with Daryl, and it said what we find is that, nationals are being held out in Ontario, and we're not getting a lot of West representation. But if we had these provincial and territorial events, and maybe you had some Western champions, and it was the best from the West and the best from the East, that would be that opportunity to really feel like, yeah, we have a national champion because everybody went out and represented, and Thomas Gilbert, if it is, or Casey Hannemeyer, or Terry Heiserbaum Hong, you name it, then you go, yeah, you truly are our Canadian Nationals champion.
Yeah. Oh, you just gave me like goosebumps. I'm all tingly over it. Yeah.
That's
You know,
awesome.
even if we could do, you know, to boost it, even do like one tournament in the Western and one tournament in the Eastern that, you know, even adds to it so that you have like BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba working together for a major event that would be prior to the Canadian Nationals, and you can take the winners of those and put them into that. Like the sky really is the limit with our sport. Like we're still
Yeah.
working in the growth, but the future could be really big. Like it doesn't have to stop with just, you know,
Yeah.
Alberta Open or Saskatchewan Open. It could be the Western Open.
I think you and I have to take this offline at a later point because I think we're on totally the same wavelength. There you go. Well, Jeri-Ann, and also too, of course, I said Terry Heiserbaum Hong, but you know what? That could just as easily be Jeri-Ann Brownbridge, Canadian champion, right? So,
Oh,
and
I don't know. I'm getting too old for that now.
hey, well, we have age divisions if you ever get to
I
that,
know.
area, right? So,
I'm
um,
40 this year, so that's where I'm at.
oh, awesome. That's well,
Yeah.
welcome to we're MA40s,
I'm
although
I'm
we're on
just
our
about
way
yeah,
out of the
we're leaving.
MA40 division. But but we love it up there. It's really great. It's kind of nice to play with people who are of your same vintage and can kind of get your same references. And if you talk about an Austin Powers reference, they don't go, "What's that?" Things like that.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah.
go. But Jeri-Ann, when we get to your 2025 plans, as you said, you're going to look to try and start touring and playing some more events. We looked at your PDGA page, saw that you had a couple tournaments under your belt, and one of the ones that I think you and Arlen were both invested and part of was the May the Course Be With You tournament. And I wanted to hear about it because it's got to be a Star Wars themed one, right? Tell me something
Yeah.
about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. We me and Arlen try to get creative with our tournaments. I mean, last year we had Shanksgiving in Moose Jaw, which did not disappoint with 80K wins. It really was Shanksgiving. And then right after that, it was so much fun, and we had such a blast with the people. And we're like, oh, you know, what can we do at the opening of the year that could really draw people in? Like, we don't have a single sanctioned event in Saskatchewan until Escape Sports Open. So there's
Mhm.
so much opening for our season that we should start a kickoff. And so we were looking, and I was like, well, you know, why don't we do May the Course Be With You on May 4th? And I'm sure there's a lot of fans that would come to our event. And yeah, it was a fabulous event with great people. Um, I may have overdid the fun time the night before, so I was really hurting during the tournament, and yeah, I needed much more sleep.
Well, so did everybody, you said everybody would come out, and I think I did see a couple pictures. Was there some people were actually really invested and were dressing up, and did someone actually put on the whole Princess Leia gear? Is that correct?
That was supposed to be me, and I was too exhausted from the night before to, you know, I have the hair, like I could put it up in those nice, you know. No, I was hurting. There was no way I was doing it. So, oh well,
Oh,
next
there you
time.
go. That's awesome. Well, that's fantastic. And Daryl, we saw something else going on too, didn't
Yeah,
we?
when we were checking it out, we noticed that you'll be heading up to the next Canadian A tier. You're going to be heading up to the Yukon for the Larger Than Life event happening up there. How excited are you for that event?
I am so excited. It's been on my bucket list to go to the Yukon at some point. Ideally, in my head, it would be nice to go in the winter time where the sun
Oh.
never rises.
Mm.
But
Mm.
next best thing, we'll go and make it a disc golf trip. And I had a bunch of friends who were kind of down with the idea. So I'm like, well, we'll go for the summer solstice. We can go play a 3 a.m. round and not need glow discs. How awesome is that? I think
Yeah.
that's what sold everybody. And so, yeah, we're going to go and we might even take a little day trip to Skagway. So we're
Ooh,
really,
right.
really excited. I mean, the tournament is supposed to be the big factor. It's just going to the Yukon that's my factor. I'm like, it's gonna be like a casual round for me because I probably won't even practice the course. I'm just gonna have a good time with the locals and enjoy all the experiences that Whitehorse and the Yukon have to offer.
Yeah. You kind of answered a few questions that we had there. We were going to ask you if you're going to drive up or if you're going to fly, and if you were going to add a few more courses to your list. So it sounds like you're going to try and get a few more in there. Yeah.
We're not going to get them all, like, because some of them are really far. So based on our timeline, we'll get probably majority of Yukon courses, and
Yeah.
you got to come back again. So we'll save some for the next go.
yeah.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, and we talked to Ryan Norquet last year after the tournament, and Ryan and Bree have been creating an amazing event. Like last year, they were doing double disc court. They were doing so many things because it's not just one tournament. It's like an entire week celebrating disc golf. And then when we looked most recently, when we talked to him last week, is Thomas Gilbert's heading up there. So when you've got one of the best Canadian MPOs heading up there, or arguably the best Canadian MPO.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tim Plamondon and Kristen Swirls from the Edmonton area, two of our favorites heading there. That alone is going to make it great. And then you get to meet all the northern players and everyone from that community. We're jealous, I'll tell you that much.
Definitely on our bucket list.
You should
I think.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's still space, and that's one thing that we want to tell people for sure is that there is still a lot of room to head up there. And I don't know, are you guys driving or are you flying? Which way did you choose?
We're flying,
Okay.
but we are renting a car while we're there, and of course, we got the package for unlimited mileage so that we can travel to Skagway.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. And you know what, Daryl,
Mm-hmm.
I did think about it. If Jeri-Ann and Arlen were going to drive and they were going to do that, you know how I like my distances.
Right.
Do you want to know how far it would be from Regina to Whitehorse to drive?
I have a feeling you're going to tell me anyway.
I will tell you.
Go for it.
2,772 kilometers, or like 28 and a half hours without breaks, like just driving and maybe
Right.
getting gas and that's it. Be quite the drive. Now, I've driven up to northern Alberta. I've gotten as far as High Level. I've gone to Fort St. John in BC, and it starts to get pretty sparse when you're driving up there. But I'd imagine if you were driving all the way to Whitehorse,
Yeah.
it would just get barren. Like there would be nobody around. You wouldn't see anybody for hours. It would almost feel like the road was deserted.
Almost, eh?
Picture this. You've taken a relaxing cruise, however the ship goes down. You manage to swim to an island, and fortunately for you, there's an 18-hole disc golf course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you on the island?
There you go, Jeri-Ann. We're at that point where we like to find out which 3 discs you're going to be taking to this fictitious island. If you were ever on this ship and it went down and you swam, you only had 3 discs with you. Which 3 discs would you be taking with you to this island?
So I think it's funny because if I were only able to grab 1 disc, it wouldn't be in this section. But I'm going to go with the 3 discs.
Okay.
So it would be the
I always like it
TSA
when a guest brings a disc.
I
When you
three.
have them to show, it's great.
So I have the second run Nerve Temple.
Okay.
Ooh.
It has to be second run. It's just the first run is not for me. The second run is.
Okay.
And then I got the S-Line CD1.
Okay.
And then my putter, because putting is the most important part of the game, and it'll be the Neptune Splash.
Oh.
Okay. That's a new one for
Nice
the
choices.
podcast. Yeah. Perfect.
It's a
So let's
diverse
just-
options here.
Absolutely, yeah. And it always makes me, I always like it when the guests bring a putter and a mid-range and a driver. So we had the S-Line CD1,
The Nerve Temple.
the Nerve
Second run.
Nerve
Second
Temple,
run.
and then the Splash. What plastic was that?
It's baseline.
Just baseline. Sorry, was it Divergent? No,
No, that's
Neptune.
Neptune,
Neptune.
yep.
Sorry,
Neptune, sorry.
yeah,
Neptune,
Yeah.
baseline Neptune Splash.
Well, and that's what you've been kind of experimenting as well, because you've heard a lot of people like base putters when they're throwing putters.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of people say that.
Mhm.
I don't get it myself, but
You'll get there.
Yeah.
But it's not only those 3 discs. That's not the only question we have, is it?
No, exactly. So the extra part that we add on to this is if you could transport one course to this island, so you had your 3 discs, and it was the one course that you were going to play around and around until you get rescued, which course would you take and transport to the island?
Can I pick the one course that I can't get to from here?
That's a good way to play it. Yeah, we could definitely. That's awesome. Wow, what a way to think outside the
Yeah,
box.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, then you would have it. You'd have it a lot
That
of
way I get it off
times.
my UDisc app.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And the other thing is that you said it was a fly-in course, and when you start riding in those really small planes and stuff, there is a chance you could fly in and it runs out of gas or the engine's not where you might be on a deserted island up there.
There you go.
That's
It was
awesome.
either gonna be that or the one in Antarctica.
Oh, yes. I thought I might have saw a post or something about that, but yeah, that's crazy.
I
Yeah,
think it's just one basket, but I'll say that one too.
Yeah. It's great. I like the way you think. A lot of people are like, which course have I played the most? Which course do I enjoy the most? Like, I got to play this course again and again.
Mhm.
But the way that you thought about just bringing that one course in to take it off your list, I like it.
Yeah. And Jeri-Ann, one thing I had in the outline, I kind of overpassed it. I want to bring back to it really quick. Is not only with all the things that you're doing, we got to do a shout out to the CDGH peeps. So the Canadian Disc Golf Hub on Facebook, you are one of the admins and one of the people who makes that happen, which has got to be one of the best websites for disc golf in Canada. So I just want to make sure we take a minute and step on that for a sec too. So
Yeah, that one is honestly a honor and a privilege, and I love that it's more than just a buying and selling page. It's become more of a discussion page and a friendly discussion page at that. So
yeah.
I love it. It gives people a nice, healthy way to have a good debate, but without insulting each other or being negative. So yeah, I love them.
Yeah, and you guys do a great job. And the one thing too, I think people really like about it is that when you do buy and sell discs and that on that website, you feel real confident. Nobody's going to disappear on you or ghost you. And if they do, guess what? You won't see them ever again. They really are a ghost.
Yeah.
They'll be gone. So so it's been good that way. And as we get to the end of the interview, we always want to turn the floor over to you because there might have been something we missed. You might have some sponsors you want to shout out or anything like that. So now's the time for you to take that time.
So yeah, like my list is really short this year because I committed more into volunteering and touring than I did into playing. But as you can see, I got my Putt Confidently hat, which I really do stand behind the product. They invited me onto their team, and of course I couldn't say no because their product is amazing. And then Infinite Disc, which honestly, I love their discs. They're not into my 3-disc wonder, would have been in my 4-disc. But no, I stand behind the team with Infinite Disc. It's like the team is so diverse and very like tournament oriented as well. So they do a lot to help tournaments and communities. And then Dark Ace as well. It's Dark Ace has got to be the best team I've been on for the vibe in the chat. Like people are helping and assisting and guiding, and then there's laughs and jokes and good music. And Dark Ace is George is just phenomenal, and Hannah Wynn is just top notch. Most humble player I've ever contacted. And I want to give a special shout out, not a sponsor, but a company that without them, I probably wouldn't have been so involved with the community, and that's Top Link Disc Golf. They were the first team to bring me on, and Ryan Clare was just amazing human, and he's done so much for our community. So my heart's really sad that Top Link will be closing up. So I just really definitely need to give a shout out to Ryan Clare and the Top Link team.
Yeah, and I think we agree with you. We've with Top Link. We've seen all that they've done, even in the short time we've been in the community, and it's going to be a loss anytime we lose a disc golf company, and especially one that's not just a company, is everything that they've done for the community, right? So
Yes.
well, that's great. Now, we know when we looked at your PDGA, there isn't an Alberta tournament on there, but I'm sure one's going to sneak in, and we hope that it does, and that we can catch up with you and Arlen there before the end of the year here. So
We're going to Calgary. I don't know if there'll be a tournament, but it might have a get in, get out, get rated style thing going on.
Right.
Alex Penny is working
nicest
on
guy in
that
disc
in the
golf. We always
weekend.
have to throw that in. Sorry, now you can continue. Go ahead.
No, he is. No, he is the nicest person in disc golf.
Yeah.
There's no one quite like Alex. We're so lucky to have him in our community. And yeah, I'm going up to Calgary for the Corn concert. So we thought we'd hit the Calgary tour. And I mean, there's a lot of private courses, and maybe, Alex can give us a hookup and we can play some of those private courses. And then, yeah, get in, get out, get rated.
Well, there you go. Drop us a line when you're heading there. I go to Calgary probably at least once a month, so maybe the stars will align.
Yeah.
I will hit you up.
Sounds great. Well, Jeri-Ann, thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome having you on, and just so fantastic to talk to another person doing amazing things. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely. It was our pleasure. Thank you very much for stopping by.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks, Jerry.
How many times have we said it? We're like always, wow, what another amazing, great guest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always true. And it just always, like,
I think it's just because Canadian disc golfers are just the best people all around.
that's right.
Yeah. And we get to interview them.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you got all those American podcasts talking to Americans, but look what we've got in Canada here.
Yeah.
We really do have it made in the way our sport is growing. And it's fantastic to talk to Jeri-Ann, such a wonderful advocate,
Mm-hmm.
and just doing lots of things to grow the sport in Saskatchewan. Like, and to think from them going from 65 courses to 105, like 40 courses in such a short period of time. That's amazing.
And the fact that she wants to get around and play them all.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we'd all love to get around and play as many courses as we can, but she's actually out there doing it.
Yeah.
As well as running tournaments and volunteering and
Provincial
and
coordinator,
community outreach and running clinics.
creating trophies.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. Well, thanks, Jeri-Ann, for
Yeah.
joining us and growing women's disc golf on top of all that too, right? So
Absolutely.
So if you've listened this far and you're not subscribed to Chain Out Podcast, please jump in there and do it. We were at 398 subscribers before it started.
Mm-hmm.
All we need is 2 more and we hit 400, and that's another big milestone. We're going for 500 to get another big giveaway.
That'll be a big giveaway.
And we've been piling up the discs for that one.
Discs, towels, stickers, minis, lots of things to give away.
Yeah, for sure. So we love it when you support us, and we try to support you back by giving you guys giveaways, by doing discounts as well. So to reminder on our discounts, you can go to BR Disc Golf or go to Cardinal Disc Golf and use the code CHAINOUT and get 10% off your purchases. It's one way you can save. Another way, if you're a board game person, you can go to Chains the Disc Golf board game and save by putting in Chain Out and getting 25% off. And then our other discount code is COP15, Chain Out Podcast 15. You can use that at Goat Towel, the greatest of all towels, and get yourself a 15% discount there. And if you've done all that and you've supported us, you've followed us, you've liked us, you've shared us, you've told the person on the airplane about us, what you can also do is join our Patreon. We have multiple levels, some where you can support us monetarily, other ones where you can be part of it and be free just to be part of the community. Go check that out. Or for a one-time support, go to our link tree, find the Buy Us a Beer link, and you can do that there. The mouthful is done, Daryl. I think I did it all.
I think I got all the buttons pushed as
You
well.
did great there. That was
too
pretty
many
good.
buttons.
I thought you had 2 hands
I
going
think I was
there at
playing
one
piano.
point. So tell the listeners about the Patreon that's coming up.
Join us in a few minutes' time once we finish this episode, normally around 8:30-ish.
Mhm.
We'll be heading over to Patreon. We're going to be having our normal Canadian disc golf discussion.
Mhm.
We'll talk about the chain out battle that happened. We'll give you the update on that. And also, we're going to see how much knowledge Jeremy has of MVP Axiom Streamline TSA discs in a new quiz that we like to call
New quiz. Who dis?
Thank you, Tanis. We appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, we appreciate all of our listeners there, Tanis. It sounds like you're going to have an awesome time with Jeri-Ann. Enjoy that event. That's going to be fantastic. And if we were going down to an event this weekend, I don't think we are, but if we were, you mentioned a drift earlier in one of your questions there. There
Yeah.
was that Neptune splash. There's a lot of discs that we mentioned today. Any of them strike your fancy?
Well, I've never thrown any Neptune plastic. I only have one Discmania, and that's an FD. I've never thrown a CD. And but why am I having a hard time thinking what her third disc was?
Oh, the Nerve Temple.
The Nerve Temple.
Second run
Second
only.
run only. Yeah. So I mean, I've never touched any of them, but I do have a Streamline Drift.
Yeah. Do you know did we have it last night when we were at Niska? Because I bet if we had it, things
Oh,
might have went
if we were doing that ace run, we threw out all those other discs. They didn't even come close to going into the basket.
No.
But if you had a drift, and if you took it, it's a -2-1. So you would throw it on a little bit of hyzer, get it to flip up. It would start to drift to the right. It would aim to just to clip the right side chains, and then it would fall right into the basket. Because you know it would fall in the basket. You'd get an ace with a drift. That's the guarantee.
Okay,
if people don't know that.
Mm.
You know why it's a guarantee?
Why is that?
Because there's only one thing that disc will never do.
It could never possibly.
Of course it wouldn't.
Chain out!
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you shortly.